Fury, and we're about ready to get crazy at the Box Score Bar. We're continuing our totally rad Danette drink series. Today's drink is going to be for the back row bookworm, Andrew McLovin Perloff. This drink is called the Dark Dork. Start with 6 ounces of your favorite dark rich stout. Let's pour in 3.5 ounces of a nice cola, and let's drop in a shot of Jaeger. All right. What? You know McLovin doesn't drink. I think I'm going to go brunette. Call me bad, Dan Nation. The box score starts right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score. Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. NFL free agency has taken the nation by storm, gentlemen. McLovin, what is the most shocking maneuver yet?
I think everybody was really taken aback by the Eagles trading Nick Foles and a second-round pick to the Rams for Sam Bradford and maybe a fourth or a third. But, I feel like every trade individually, when you look at them, makes sense. But now the collective of Chip Kelly, everyone's like, this man's crazy. He's a madman.
Well, we make decisions before the results.
Yeah.
But you have to. It's not like people say, oh, well, wait till the results are in. Well, we're not going to wait 3 years for Sam Bradford to comment on it. So it's kind of a silly thing, but you have to comment. When I saw that yesterday, I thought the same thing. I was like, Sam Bradford's the kind of guy that if you left out on the lawn, no one would take him. And it's like leaving some garbage on your lawn, and then someone goes, oh, I'll buy that from you. You're going to buy that from me? And that's what it felt like to me, because Sam Bradford just hasn't played football in a long time, and he might be great, but it just feels like he's not done, but the guy's not a factor.
I feel like the Browns rode in on him, too, and that's what drove the price. I think there's...
But if the Browns want him, do you want him?
Well, that might be true, but... Dude, I tell you, I will bet anyone on this table, if Sam Bradford plays, he throws 10 more touchdowns than Nick Foles.
Well, that's like saying, if I get a starring role in a sitcom, I'll win an Emmy.
No, you won't, Paulie.
Right, because I won't get a starring role in a sitcom.
Oh, good point.
Stay with me.
Touche. Hey, one of the stories floating out there, one of the stories out there is Darrelle Revis going back to the Jets. Paulie, if a Danette were to leave the show, go off and win an Emmy maybe, and then come back, would he be welcome with open arms?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
I'm going to say no.
I left the Dan Patrick Show for 2 years.
I would say no,
And I came back. I'll tell you this. If you do happen to leave this show for any reason, you better not stop talking to Dan and stop your relationship with Dan and then expect to come back someday. Like, for example, when I no longer worked at the Dan Patrick Show for about a little over 2 years, I kept in regular touch with Dan. We went downstairs to the C's once every couple months and had a burger and a beer, and not best buddies, but we just kept in touch. And I don't think if we would have done that, we wouldn't be working together again. There's guys who, when they leave Dan, they forget him, and Dan forgets them. And then when they need a job, they call Dan out of the blue, and Dan doesn't play that. It's like, call me when you don't need something. I like being called when you don't need something.
There seems to be a different attitude, though, about ESPN and here. This is like, ESPN is like a big place, and there's a lot of people working there, and it's like, oh, okay, you're moving on to something else. It wasn't like so personal, whereas I think here it's like, Dan, now you're leaving Dan.
And a lot of people have left ESPN and come back. Sometimes they've come back like multiple times after they tried something else, and only to go back. And they were, I guess they were welcomed with open arms. But yeah, I agree. I think Dan would take it a little more personally, unless it was such a tremendous opportunity where it was totally, blatantly obvious to Dan where, hey, I'm not going to stand in your way. You got to go for that. But anything other than that, especially if it's within the same industry, I don't think
I don't think that there's an amount of money or another tremendous opportunity in Dan's mind.
No, I think that was an absolutely incorrect analysis on your part.
No, I disagree. Let's say Todd got an offer to host a show about something. I don't know what it would be, something that you're interested in. And it was like 3 times your salary, and you got to travel. Dan wouldn't be pleased in any way, but he'd also say, like, I got to understand it. If
I would hope he would have that.
If you could take your family to the next level.
I don't think Dan would be
then
like
if that's not true, then he never cares about us in the first place. Because if you, Seton, got a job where you tripled your salary and got to move to San Diego, I'd be like, you know what, dude? I'm going to miss you. You're a great worker.
Yeah, you would be like that. But Dan, I don't think that Dan sees it that way. I mean, he's like, well, you got to do what you got to do, but...
You think the friendship would end?
No, I would think Dan would say you were making plenty and you're making a nice living here, and this job is so much more fun and more interesting. You can do that, but what you lose with this, I think he would believe that. I don't think there's any job out
Right.
there that Dan be like,
But we are also aware of that. If any of us left, I don't care how cool the job we have is, it's never going to be as cool as what we have here.
Yeah.
We know that. The setting, the setup, the autonomy that we have here is irreplaceable, and money won't fix that. But sometimes money does talk and can make people do things.
Well, if you want to talk about going away and coming back, you can go to Albert Breer from the NFL Network. He was breaking down free agency, went away, and eventually came back.
You've got a good defensive-minded head coach, and you're in a position now, I think, to make a move. Now, you're going to have to win a different way, and winning without the star quarterback's a little bit more difficult. But it's obviously they that formula works for Todd Bowles in Arizona with Bruce Arians and. Try to reprise it there. And Dan, I'm going to have to hop off here. I'm going to get back with you guys, but they're going to throw me on the air in a second here. A couple of things happened. Is that a big deal?
Okay, yeah.
All right, we'll get right back with you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating, but these things happen. If there was a situation, we're live on national radio and TV. If there was a situation where Albert himself or a PR person that helped us set it up at the NFL Network said, "Hey, there's a chance at any moment this was going to happen," then we'd have to discuss: is it worth having him on if he's going to get pulled away in the middle? There was no discussion of that, and something happened where he had to do a live shot in the middle. He felt terrible about it, and you're seeing all. I don't think it was that big a deal. We brought him back on next segment. It wasn't ideal, but you're seeing all the warts and pimples and everything that go with a live broadcast. And again, Breer felt terrible that in the middle he had to make a choice between the people that pay his salary, the NFL Network, to do a live shot, even if it meant stopping right in the middle of his segment with us.
McLovin, what was the news that made him jump off?
No idea. I don't think he had it. He tweeted that the Eagles were talking to Ryan Matthews. So maybe he tweeted it almost simultaneously, which is weird because he didn't mention that in his segment.
He was saving it for the NFL
Saving
Network.
it
That's
for
where his
NFL.
bread is buttered.
Yeah.
Jay Glazer.
I don't know if that's what he went on and said.
Oh man, I don't know.
You think it's too much of a coincidence?
I think it's too much coincidence. Hey man, we don't pay him. He does us a favor when he comes on our show. We don't pay Albert Breer $1. So for him to make sure the NFL Network is taken care of, who pays him hundreds of $1,000s more than we do, sure, dude.
You're not going on another
Click.
show and breaking news anywhere. You're going to
Yeah.
do it on the Dan Patrick Show.
His house will look the same if he hangs up on us.
That being said, does anyone think that maybe it was a mistake to bring him back? Because I thought he was a little disjointed.
Yeah, it was. I thought he was a little almost hyper. He was a little bit hyper in a way, but this is his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Those information guys, this is bigger than game day for them. They're not gaming unless Albert Breer you don't have on a Monday after a game because that's not what he does. But in this 3-day window, it's like Mardi Gras for him.
Yeah.
And not only is he wound up and you're a little distracted and everything, and the intense pressure more than ever now with social media and everything, and all the other reporters and insiders. It's like this has got to be like an accountant, I guess, right at tax time. You're going crazy. You got to make sure you have all your facts correct. You're trying to beat everyone else to the punch to represent your network and beat everybody to breaking news or advancing stories. So I think we could wink at him being a little crazed or a little slightly distracted today.
That's all winking.
Yeah, hey, Seton, do you remember the
Yeah,
last time
I know you're
someone
busy,
was
but-
on and had to hop off and go on a live shot somewhere else?
No, I mean,
think so.
I can think of a lot of times the phone just dropped and then we had it
Many
back on.
times.
But where they accidentally scheduled like 2 interviews at the same time, no, I don't know. I can't think of too many times that's happened.
Yeah, we've had some guys where they've been on the phone and they say, I got to run, I'm up against a meeting. And Dan, like an NFL player, you're like, Dan, I got to go, I got a meeting right now.
Yeah.
Dan will like, get that one question, hey, if you're late for the meeting, what'll it cost me? I don't know, but I don't want to find out. And he's got to almost hang up the phone.
Yeah.
We've had people pull the phone out of people's hands before a couple times.
Like Tanya Harding's bodyguard. Not quite the same as what happened with Albert Breer, but that will by far be arguably the weirdest moment in the history of the show as far as
Galooly?
guests in the middle of an interview.
Okay. Well, we got to go. We're up against a hard break. Coming up, the guy's got a box of goodies in the man cave. We'll tell you who cleaned up. Speaking of clean, you know what I like? A clean truck. The boxcar. The boxcar is powered by Ram. 1,500 clean eco diesel. Every truck can tow a boat. Every truck can climb a hill. Every truck can haul a trailer, but not everybody has the most fuel-efficient half-ton truck on the road. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram.
Yeah, I didn't love
Hey,
that
just-
move. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could have just put it at 9:35 instead.
I know, like I thought he could have communicated a little
Sorry.
better. I understand.
He probably would have if he knew.
He probably just spaced. And
Wait, I don't
He
understand
probably got
between.
called back and said, hey, we need you now. We're going to pump it
Yeah,
up.
at least
how'd
it
they get
sounded
through
like
to him?
he got pulled away.
Yeah.
How'd they get through to him?
You could be standing next to a producer.
Yeah, he was near a producer, and he was in an office somewhere, and I
He's
guess
doing a live
I
shot.
guess they
It's
were
probably
trying
a
to get his attention
camera
probably while
crew.
he was talking to us. That's why maybe he sounded distracted, like we need you right now, and that was it wasn't a pre-planned.
That's kind of
thing.
funny.
Welcome back to the Box Score, guys. I was out there a couple weeks ago, and I was in the back room. You guys get some gifts every once in a while, but Seton, is this the first time in a long while that you've all got sort of gifts in one box?
Yeah, you know, I feel like the gifts lately have just been sort of disappearing. And whenever they're sent in, they never actually make it to the full group. But this time they were spread around, and it was pretty nice.
Well, today was your lucky day, but unfortunately, one Danette got left out.
Oh, check that out.
Another one
That
of
must
those.
be for you, Tom. It's like a racer's
Tony
hat.
Dorsett.
That's very cool.
He also sent this in. John Elway.
Wow.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
Wow.
Snap.
Gail Saris. There's a
about
little
that?
dust on there.
All right.
That's so cool.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
Oh, look at that.
Vegas Ferguson?
No, better than that.
Guess who?
They did a documentary about him.
The greatest documentary of our time.
Rudy Rudiger?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
A little telescope.
There you go.
little Eagles thing.
Protractor.
How about that?
Sorry about that, McLovin.
Remember when you brought in yourself a bunch of swag from a certain shoe company, and then nobody else got any? I feel like that was
Is that why that
Joe
guy did
in
that?
Tuscaloosa or whatever. No offense. He was just like going along with the bit and was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna send in stuff for you guys and not Andrew."
You get Adidas, we get crap from some dude's
Yeah, we
basement.
get.
Well, maybe that makes up for the 30 times boxes of shoes have come in, and everyone's walking around their new shoes. But it's weird, mine aren't there, and I happen to have the same exact foot size as Dan Patrick, and he's got a bunch of extra shoes sitting on it. I don't even need these. Yeah, but you took them out of my mailbox and opened them and put them back in your area.
I'll tell you, Dan is tough. I know I take a lot of stuff, but last week we got some stuff from NBC, and they did this hockey sweatshirt with these really nice ties on the top. And so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna take one of these. And I had a large, and I wrapped it up in my jacket in the back, and I had it on the chair.
No.
When I went to leave later
No.
the day, Dan had it on, and the wrapper was still in my coat, and it was gone. And I was like, oh, well,
I can't
pretty good.
believe that.
So if something comes in, you gotta sneak it out the back.
You
case.
literally
You have to stash it. You have to.
Beyond stash. I don't want to give up some of my spots. I've got some spots. But you literally if you're gonna hide something from Dan, you gotta put it in an area that he'll never go. Hint, hint, the technical area.
And we don't exactly have locked mailboxes. We literally have containers, right? That like you would just carry.
At this
mail
point, I
around
don't
and
even
open.
get mail anymore, though. Like it's just all gone.
Oh, the nice
It's
part
all
is,
gone.
it's like having a human letter opener. Anytime I do have mail, it's open for me. Like you know how they have crab, Lazy Man's lobster?
Yeah.
You know, it's all cracked for you. It's like your mail is Lazy Man's.
Going through
I
it, making sure
I get all this
everything's safe.
angry communication from people who are like, "Hey, you know, a thank you would have been nice, you jerk."
Yeah.
And like, what do you
You
mean?
never
I
saw
don't
it.
know what you're talking
All right,
about.
send you
And
a
like,
sweater.
Dan's like, "Oh, look at all these like vinyl records I got. That's pretty cool, huh?" It's like, oh, I guess that's what I should have been saying thank you for. Whatever.
Well, the gifts and the mini helmets, and of course McLovin's little green triangle of felt weren't the only great things that came in the man cave. Fritzy has a brand new laptop. And of course, we did a little research, and we're going to unfold how this all happened. Here it is where he's having a problem on Monday, and the great Alan Guzzi comes in and tries to solve it, but can't seem to figure out what massive virus is infecting that, but then comes out with a brand new laptop to help Fritzy do his work or whatever that might be. But then as we look at the old screen, it just seems to be some sort of like War Games font up there with a black screen and white typing up the top. What in the hell happened to your old computer?
We're still trying to figure it out. For now, I'm on the laptop, which is fine. But our friend, one of our production staff, Alan Guzzi, he's the technical guru. If he can't figure it, I certainly can't. I know nothing about computers. But it says something about a boot error, reboot, and then I can see he's able to remotely play with it while I'm on the desktop. I can see him remotely trying to do stuff from the back room with the computer, and then all of a sudden the blue screen, the dreaded blue screen with the white.
Do you think there's
running.
any possible reason that for the past 8 years your computer has always crapped the bed? Can you think of anything?
There may be a few, Valerie, but why would it had been working for a while, and all of a of a sudden when I hadn't recently.
So it's the computer's fault.
It's definitely the computer's fault because I hadn't recently looked at anything questionable. I think maybe I looked at a couple of photos of Charlotte McKinney of Dancing with the Stars fame, but nothing that would have been pornographic or that inappropriate that would have led me to the computer just shutting down. But the hard drive crashed and I'm getting these weird messages and we have not been able to figure out what's going on. So it's laptop for now.
Yeah, if it says spyware, malware, don't click on it, please. Coming up, we are talking about the greatest town on the planet, Manhappenin, Kansas. That's right, you heard me right.
Hey, Brock, real quick. Brock, what was the name of the high school you went to?
Manhattan High.
And you went to college?
University of Kansas in Lawrence.
Okay.
And Seton, that can certainly be your question that you have no question.
No, actually, I have no interest whatsoever in that.
That's pretty honest.
That's gonna be exactly, which is actually not true.
Kansas boy is Joe Hollywood
actually,
now.
No, I have no.
Oh, look, it's the
I have no
web.
questions for you. I'm not interested at all.
I like when Seattle, San Francisco. Now I know San Francisco's in California, but I like when the weather, like like the weather has a personality. I like that. Or Manhattan. I'd be in Manhattan. I'd go Seattle.
Manhattan, Kansas?
No. Well, no.
We are back here on the box score. I couldn't believe my ears. You guys were talking about possible places to have a vacation home. Of course, McLovin snarkily said Manhattan, Kansas. But Dan says he has no interest in the Little Apple. Fritzy, you're a world traveler. Have you ever been to Manhattan, Kansas, or even heard of it?
I have heard of Manhattan, Kansas. I've never been there, but I think Dan got a bad rap there. When I first heard it, I thought one thing, but now that I'm looking at it again, he wasn't so dismissive where he should be getting ripped on social media or by anybody. He didn't say anything vicious or malicious or hateful about Manhattan, Kansas. He kind of said, no, it's like I'm referring to New York City, Manhattan.
By the way, was that video of the town of Manhattan, Kansas?
That's downtown.
That looks happening.
Yeah.
That's Manhappening.
Wait, was there some sort of virus that killed everybody there? What was it?
Speaking of
was it
virus,
a Walking Dead
There's an
town?
alley where Brock got his first STD. You can see over there.
What is going on? That is the deadest town I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's Saturday at 7 p.m.
I know. Oh my God.
The sheriff ran out.
Oh,
Wow, I gotta live there.
yeah, boy, that is Manhappening for sure. Well, that statement irked two really important people. Yours truly, and of course, the great Packers receiver, Jordy Nelson. And then he tweeted this out, which I think prompted you, Paulie, to get in contact with him. Is that right?
Yeah, I first saw it, I was like, man, I hope this is really him. And I noticed that little blue check, which means you're important. And I sent him a note. He sent it right back. He goes, yeah, I can call in, no sweat. And I was like, it was pretty much that easy. And he had a little fun, talked a little football, and good guys. He's always been a good guy.
Not a fan of punctuation, though, apparently.
Yeah, it's not a huge
question mark
punctuation
would've
guy.
been nice there.
Now, Brock, I noticed you're also one of the famous residents of Manhattan, Kansas. That being said, the day you were eligible to leave town after your high school, you left and went to Lawrence.
Yeah, I couldn't get out quick enough. It was 18 years, and I wanted to go to K-State, but my mother said they'll just be an extension of high school, and quite literally kicked me out of town. So I had to go out there to Lawrence and
Nice.
spend it with all the rich kids. Yes.
Brock, I have a Manhattan question actually. So, is it a lot like Manhattan, New York? Like, do you have like a modern art museum and then like a few like older museums? Like, are there a lot of Hollywood stars that perform in plays there?
Theaters, skyscrapers.
Yeah, I
fancy
mean, like,
restaurants.
is there like a string of bars where you'll see like Drake and Rihanna and all them? Is it that kind of Manhattan?
Yes, you'll see Bob Drake. He owns a lawnmower repair service. And Rihanna.
Bobby Drake.
Yeah, Bobby Drake. And, of course, Rihanna Lowenstein, who runs the beauty parlor down in Aggieville right next to Rusty's Last
He's very
Chance.
sweet, very sweet, Lowenstein.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, moving on. Jordy Nelson did call in, and DP asked him about the most happening place in Manhattan, Kansas. Here it is.
The place to go in Manhattan is actually outside of Manhattan. It's called Nelson's Landing.
Okay, do you have a piece of Nelson's Landing?
No, it's all my mom, none of me.
Okay, what is Nelson's Landing?
It's a great restaurant, sports bar, family restaurant that we opened up probably going on almost 10 years now. So, but no, Manhattan's great. You've been down to Aggieville? You said you're in Manhattan. Surely you went to Aggieville.
I don't know where I went. I
So
bet.
it's down by campus. It's all the bars and like the little small restaurants and everything. That would be definitely the place to go in Manhattan.
I have been to Aggieville, and he's right. It's a pretty good time. I mean, you can have fun in the college town. You can't have fun anywhere. Almost every college except for maybe BYU, there's a place to go out. But that's cool. His parents have a little restaurant, and he got his plug in. I'm sure packed tonight. I bet it.
Well, they got dueling piano night coming back, I noticed, which for your $30 cover, you can also, there's a Mexican buffet at the Landing, as the locals call
Worth
it.
the price of admission.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Why is their bar area called Aggieville if they're the Wildcats?
I have no idea. I was there. I have no idea.
I can explain that to you.
I didn't ask. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, in the 1950s, before they changed their name to the Wildcat, they were, I believe, the Kansas State A&M Aggies. So that's why it was originally called Aggieville, and it is a very fun place. I went out with my nephews and nieces, bought a round for $27, and shortly after that, they picked me up wandering the streets. So how about this? How about we go to the bar next segment? We'll close out this whole thing, and it'll bring me right back to that magical moment. We are closing up shop here in the box score, and we are taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best in class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Guts, glory, yes, Ram.
Do you think tomorrow in the last segment of the show we should give you our last words to you, just in case? Like, whatever we want to say to you, because we're not going to see you after the show tomorrow. Maybe forever, but likely Friday.
Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just write it down, piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and then maybe whoever's going to be in here on Friday in my job, you could have them read it.
Or how about we type it to you and you can guess whose comments are from whom?
We are closing up shop here on the box score. Tomorrow, the boss is going into the hospital for major surgery. Paulie, have you already started your last words for DP?
I thought about it. Yeah, I did think about it a little bit after that today in case he put us on the spot, but I've got a few. They're a little mean. I was thinking about just going, Racky, you're out, make him laugh. But then, yeah, I want to maybe show some emotion, but then they'll think it's fake. It probably is. So. I don't know. Well, I'm going to go off the cuff and just write it tomorrow.
Richie, you had one of the best, sort of mock headlines ever, though, regarding Dan dying.
It was
I got one, too.
See if you can write that.
How about this headline? En fuego, Dan chooses cremation.
All right.
Okay, yeah,
I'm with it.
Yeah.
from cream rinse to cremation.
Boy.
Hey, Two-A-Days is driving Dan to the hospital tomorrow. McLovin, how did you lose out on that privilege?
Dan thinks I'm a terrible driver. Everyone here has been in a car with me. Am I that bad? Be honest with me.
I do remember we
Short distance.
were in Miami and McLovin had GPS and he trusted GPS. And we're driving up past South Beach on the inland area. And there was a hotel that we're trying to go to. I go, there it is. He goes, no, this says 35 miles straight.
What happened?
Right there.
I've done that till you follow GPS.
What happened was I'd accidentally put in Ocala, Florida.
Ocala, Florida.
Ocala, Florida.
Ocala,
which was like 54 miles away.
Same name hotel. Like, yeah, it was like the
Oklahoma.
low. Yeah, it's the same name hotel. And I go, McLovin, it's 1 mile that way. He goes, I think we should trust the machine.
Did you get there?
We did get there. By the way,
I remember you guys getting there, walking into the middle of dinner, and Paul was not happy. He was not happy.
I'll tell you,
at
if
all.
Dan
So
does...
you miss an app or two. Come on.
Well, that's big here.
It is.
If Dan does ride with Two-A-Days to the hospital, he's probably going to get a cold because Two-A-Days had a broken window in his car for about 9 months. And instead of fixing it, he's bought shoes and sweaters and hair care goods. It's so great to be in your 20s and not buying a glass for your car that costs $150, but you'll buy a $300 coat.
Hey, Fritzy, who's on deck should Dan come back way too high off painkillers on Friday?
Who you worked on?
That is a very good question. I don't think we have anybody planned. I guess, our friend Chris Mannix is someone we
Not
would
available.
reach out to, but Paulie says he's not available. I think it might be one of those Danette's co-hosting job led by Paulie Paps, but hopefully...
How about you? You should host Friday. Let's all vote. Fritzy hosts Friday.
Yes, I'm in.
I'm in.
Okay,
Or Brian Williams.
Or Brian
That'd be cool,
Williams.
too.
Yeah.
We'll both make up a bunch of stories. So
Fritzy and Brian
Whoa.
Williams.
Hey,
I love
Fritzy.
Brian Williams.
I remember
But yeah,
you were
hopefully
in
Dan will be here.
Abad.
If not, we'll have to figure it out. Dan would want the show to go on, whether something goes really poorly or he's just not feeling up to hosting on Friday.
Friday could be epic, by the way. Is anyone else very curious? I would love a high on
And we have
Mike
no
and Dan
guest
Patrick.
Yeah.
Got our fingers crossed for that one. All right, let's see. Fritzy, is Brian Williams going to be on tomorrow?
Brian will not be with us tomorrow, but Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer from Turner Sports, will, and Paulie's friend Frank Whaley, actor extraordinaire. You're not buddies with him? From Field of Dreams, JFK. He got killed in Pulp Fiction by Samuel L. Jackson and Swimming with Sharks. Many other movies. He's a director, actor, producer, writer. He's all of it. Frank Whaley in studio in the Milford Man Cave. That's tomorrow. Check your local listing.
Frank Whaley, all right. Thank you, guys. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239, which is available in Manhattan, Kansas, home of the Chef Cafe, Hilton Garden Inn, where my brother runs that, my mom's house with the cat, and, of course, K-State University, where my niece will be graduating soon. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!